Okay, see, we are starting with a simple chapter, permutation and combination. Now, under that, the first thing that we require is something called as a factorial notation, which is generally represented by an exclamation mark. So, the question is, how do we calculate this factorial notation? How do we apply this factorial notation should be very clearly known to us. So, suppose if I start with a very easy example. Suppose I want to find the value of, let us say, 8 factorial. So what is that? 8 into 7 into 6 into 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. So what I have done basically over here is that whatever is the number that is given to you, start with that number, reduce it by 1. Each time reduce it by 1 till the final number comes out to be equal to 1. Don't go beyond 1, because after 1 the next number will come out to be 0 and multiplication by 0 will make everything 0. Therefore, in case of factorial notation, when you want to do the calculation, we have to start with the given number and stop at the minimum possible value over there, which is 1, for this particular kind of calculation. So in this case 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, when you multiply all these numbers, you will get 8 factorial as 40320. In the similar manner, suppose if I take one more example, let us say 7 factorial. So that is 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. So when I multiply all these numbers, I will get the answer as 5040. So basically 7 factorial value is 5040. If you observe 7654321, 7654321, these all numbers, if I replace by a small number which is 7 factorial, I can say in general that 8 factorial can be written as 8 multiplied by 7 factorial. Now see, 7 factorial was 5040, so I will get 8 into 5040. See, let us check whether we get the same answer or not. 8 into 0 is 0, 8 into 4 is 32, 0 and 3, that is 3, 8 5s are 40. So you can observe exactly same number we have also got over here. So this is applicable for all possible whole numbers. We have to remember over here very important point. Factorial notation is defined for whole numbers. So suppose if I consider, if n belongs to W, where W is a set of whole numbers, then I can start by saying that n factorial, start with the same number which is n, reduce it by 1, so you will get n minus 1. Again when I reduce it by 1, so it will become n minus 1 minus 1, and that becomes actually n minus 2. Again when you reduce it by 1, it becomes n minus 2 minus 1, which will actually become n minus 3. And the process will continue till the final value comes out to be equal to 1. So we can say it is just 2 into 1. So this is a very important formula that we have to remember. So if I want to calculate over here the value of n factorial, I will start with n minus 1, n minus 2 till it becomes 1. In case, suppose if you want to calculate the factorial of some other number, let us consider n minus 1 factorial. So what you do, start with this number which is n minus 1. So n minus 1, n minus 2, n minus 3, and reduce it ultimately until it becomes 1. So whether I calculate n factorial or I calculate n minus 1 factorial, or in fact you calculate any other factorial value, the minimum value has to be over there equal to 1. It will get all reduced up till 1. Below 1 it will not go, because below 1 it will become 0, and multiplication by 0 will make everything 0, and which we don't want. Therefore we reduce it finally up till 1. So see, this thing that I did over here, 8 factorial is 8 into 7 factorial, can be applied over here also. How do we apply this? See, n minus 1, n minus 2, n minus 3, n minus 4 up till 2 and 1, n minus 1, n minus 2, n minus 3 up till 1. All these numbers I will replace by a very small notation by saying it like this: n factorial is n into n minus 1 factorial. So in this case, basically this is one very important formula that you have to remember, and other than that it is this. These are the two important formulas or two important terms that we need to remember when we are calculating our factorial notations. Now let us understand how to apply the calculations or operations on factorials. So give the heading operations on factorials. Suppose if you want to calculate the value of 8 factorial minus 5 factorial. So like you do for 8x minus 5x, what you do is 8 minus 5 and you take x common. But when you are doing it for factorial, this cannot be applicable. I cannot take out factorial as a common, because factorial is not a variable. Here x is a variable. If I cannot take out factorial common, because it is a notation, it is not an variable, okay? So you cannot take out factorial common. This is one very important thing that should be very clear in your mind, okay? After that, the next important thing, when I want to calculate this kind of numbers, what I will do is, we have to reduce the greater number till the smaller number. We start with 8 factorial, which is 8, then reduce, it becomes 7, again reduce, it becomes 6, again reduce, it becomes 5. Now I apply a break by putting the factorial notation. The reason is that if I reduce it further, it will become 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, which ultimately results by a single notation 5 factorial. And why do I do it like that? Because I have to subtract it with 5 factorial. So what I will do is, now I can take out entire 5 factorial as a common element. So when I take out 5 factorial as a common element, I will get 8 into 7 into 6 minus 1. So leave this 5 factorial. 7 into 6 is 42 multiplied by 8 minus 1. So 5 factorial into 8 into 2 is 16. 8 into 4 is 32 plus 1 33 minus 1. So basically we will get this as 5 factorial multiplied by 335. Then depending on the options of your question, you can simplify this by calculating the value of 5 factorial, or probably you can stop over here. That depends completely on the options that are given to you in your MCQs or the questions. Okay, that is one example. That was for subtraction. See, similar property can be also applied for addition. If I want to add the two factorial values, again you will be doing the same logic. There is no different way for addition. Just instead of subtraction in between, I will put the notation or the sign of addition, but that will be the only change. That is one thing. Let us see the second kind of operation, division or multiplication. Suppose if I want to calculate the value of 12 factorial divided by, let us say, 8 factorial. So in this case, like I told you, factorial cannot be taken out common. Same way, I can also not cancel off 12 and 8 even though they are having a common multiple value. When you want to divide this kind of factorial values, what you have to do is, like we did in the previous case, reduce the greater number till the smaller number and then do the entire calculation or the cancellation. How? I have the 12 factorial value. I will write over here as 12 into 11 into 10 into 9 into 8 factorial, then divided by 8 factorial. Now cancel off the common factor. 8 factorial has been cancelled, and then multiply the remaining numbers. 11 into 12 will be 132, 132 into 10 will be 1320, multiplied by 9. So let us multiply. 9 into 0 is 0, 9 into 2 is 18, 27 and 1 28, 9 ones are 9 and 2 11. So that comes out to be 11,880. So that is the value of 12 factorial upon 8 factorial. Now this was all about the numbers, but suppose in case if in exam I am not given the numbers but I am having the question in terms of a n or p or some other letter or r probably, so what do we do in that kind of cases? Let us understand that with example number 3. Suppose if you want to calculate the value of n minus 3 factorial upon n factorial. In fact, this is a bracket factorial. N minus 3 factorial upon n factorial. So now looking at this, we have to decide which is a greater value and which is a smaller value. In suppose if I observe n and n minus 3, it directly comes to my mind, obviously n has to be greater than n minus 3. Say for example, if n is equal to 12. So if I take 12 minus 3, it will become 9. So 100% 12 is greater than 9. So as we did in the previous case, we will reduce the greater factorial value till the smaller factorial value, and the smaller value will be left as it is, like we left 8 factorial over here. So you will leave this n minus 3 factorial as it is, and n factorial will be written as n, then n minus 1, then n minus 2, then n minus 3. See, I want n minus 3 in the numerator, apply factorial and stop over there. Just cancel off the common factorial value and you are ready with the answer, which is n, n minus 1 and n minus 2. Then this is actually a part of a bigger sum. So this kind of method will be applied when you are solving the sums of unknown variable n or p or r in that case. And then it can be solved further to find the value of n depending on the given condition of the question. Let us understand one more example of this kind. Suppose if you have 5 minus n factorial divided by 7 minus n factorial. Now see, looking at this 5 minus n and 7 minus n, you have to once again decide which will be greater, 7 minus n or 5 minus n. So if suppose directly looking at this, if you don't understand, what you can do is do a small rough work calculation. How? As you know that we have to reduce the factorial again and again by 1. So you will just understand within 1 minute if you just do one reduction. If I want to calculate 5 minus n factorial, I start with 5 minus n. If I reduce this with 1, it will become 5 minus n minus 1, which will actually become 4 minus n. But I require 7 minus n. So that means that this will not work. So go to the next one. So I have now understood that 5 minus n factorial is a smaller value. So I will leave this and I will try to break the denominator value like this. Write with 7 minus 1, reduce it by 1, so 7 minus 1, 7 minus n minus 1, in fact it is going to be 6 minus n, again 6 minus n minus 1, so 6 minus 1 will become 5, so I will get this as 5 minus n factorial. Now you are ready to do the cancellation and just write the remaining values as 1 upon 7 minus n into 6 minus n. Once again, if suppose you are given that this is equal to some number, then by doing the basic cross multiplication and calculation, we would be able to get the value of n. Okay. Okay, so now let us understand principles of counting. See, there are two basic principles of counting. The first is addition principle, according to which if there are two events, let us say A and B, where A can be performed in M ways and B can be performed in N ways, then either A or B can be done or performed in M plus N ways. Whenever we come across the word or, we will always use addition of the number of possibilities. Let us understand this with the help of a very simple example. Suppose if in a class there are 30 boys and let us say 27 girls. The class teacher wants to appoint any one student as a class monitor. So the teacher can appoint either one boy or one girl as a monitor. So suppose if teacher decides to appoint one boy as a monitor. So this is my event A, this is my event B. So any one boy can be appointed in a monitor in 30 ways. Any one girl can be appointed as a monitor in 27 ways, because there are 27 options in girls and 30 options in boys. So any one boy or any one girl can be appointed as a monitor in M plus N ways. So I will say any one boy or one girl can be appointed in 30 plus 27 ways, which is actually just 57 ways. That is example number 1. I'll give you one more example. Example 2. Suppose if you go to a store which is having some ready-made garments and you want to purchase, let us say, a t-shirt for yourself. So you will tell the shopkeeper, sir, this is my size and this kind of a t-shirt I am preferring. So he will tell you, or he will show you the rack of t-shirts of your size and the preference that you are telling him, designer or probably simple or whatever you tell him. Depending on that, the shopkeeper will show you, see madam, these are the different kind of options that we are having according to your choice. You select any one or as much as you want. Suppose if you like S1, S2, S3 and S4. Suppose I am considering that there are 4 t-shirts that you are liking and you want to purchase only one t-shirt. So what you do is, in the rack there are maybe 50 or 100 t-shirts, out of which you have selected these 4 t-shirts, and now out of 4 you will be going down to 1. So either you can select the first t-shirt in one way, or the second in one way, or the third in one way, or the fourth in one way. So it is not necessary that there will be only two events like I gave you in the above definition. In definition we write it just two because it is, we cannot write all the cases together in one definition. That's why I am giving you the second example for your understanding, that number of events can be any number of events, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, multiple number of events can be taken together. But what you have to understand over here is that if there is a word or in between the different outcomes, you have to add all the possibilities. So in fact I will say one t-shirt can be purchased out of 4 in 4 ways. So this is one very important point that we need to remember when we are talking about addition principle. Now see, the second principle that we have is the multiplication principle. Once again, starting is same, so we won't waste our time writing this thing again. There are two events A and B, where A can be performed in M ways and B can be performed in N ways. So let us write over here in short. A can be done in M ways, B can be done in N ways. So number of ways in which A and B can be done together is M into N. Whenever you come across the word and between two events or more than two events, we will always multiply the possible number of outcomes. That is what we have to understand in multiplication principle. Addition principle uses the word or, multiplication principle uses the word and. This you can remember in short, so you will never go wrong in any of the sums. Okay, this is one very important point. I'll give you an example for this. Obviously, suppose if you go to an ice cream parlor, let us say Baskin Robin or Gelato or Amore or something like that. So what these ice cream parlors they do is they have got a fridge in which they keep n different flavors. Let us say the fridge over there has got 15 to 20 different flavors available, out of which F1, F2, F3 and F4, these are your 4 favorite flavors, out of which you are going to select only one flavor of ice cream for yourself. So it is similar to the previous case which I did. I can select either the first flavor or the second or the third or the fourth, whichever I like the most. So over here any one of the 4 flavors out of 4 can be purchased in 4 ways, like we did in the previous example for the shirts or the t-shirts. Now what these outlets of the ice cream parlors they do is they give you different options for the containers. Containers means you can either select a small cup, a medium cup, a big cup, a waffle, a biscuit, a cone. There are different container options which are available with that particular outlet. Suppose if I say C1, C2, C3, these are the 3 containers that the store has available in option. Let us say small cup, big cup and the cone. These are the only 3 options available. Remaining options have been finished probably. So in this case, once again I would have to select one of the 3 containers, and this can be done in 3 ways. But when you want to purchase one ice cream, I have to select a flavor and a container together. So when the word and comes in between, you have to multiply the number of possibilities over here. So the first event can be done in 4 ways and the second event can be done in 3 ways. So both of them together can be done in 4 into 3 ways, which is equal to 12 ways. Okay. So the example is, how many different signals can be generated using 5 flags of different colors such that each signal consists of using 2 flags at a time. Now see, it is very easy. Suppose if I consider F1, F2, F3, F4 and F5. These are the flags of different colors, and it says we have to form a signal consisting of 2 flags at a time. Suppose if this is a signal post and this is suppose your signal, then this is your first place, this is your second place of the signal. The first place can be filled using F1 or F2 or F3 or F4 or F5. So the first place has got 5 options, out of which any one can be used in the first place. Suppose if I assume F1, F2, F3, F4, F5, let me consider F4 is placed in the first place. Now, for the second place, it says that you have to use different colors. It means that the same color flag cannot be repeated. So we leave this F4 and F1, F2, F3 and F5. So the second place can be filled in 4 ways. Let me consider F1 has been used in this place. So in order to make one signal, I require 2 flags of different colors. It means that I require the first place and the second place together. So when I am considering AND over here, the possible number of signals is equal to 5 into 4, which is, there are totally 20 signals that can be generated using 5 flags, and each signal has got 2 different colors at a time. Got it? So now let us start with the next part, permutations. See, in simple language, the meaning of permutation is arrangement. Whenever we have to make the arrangements of some objects, we use a technical word called as permutation. So basically you should just remember it like this, that whenever you come across the word permutation, the first thing that should come to your mind is that you are talking, or the question is talking about arrangement. That is one very important thing that has to be very clear in our mind. Now next, if I see the definition of permutation, we say that if there are n objects out of which r objects have to be arranged such that order of occurrence of objects is given importance, then this can be done in NPR ways. It is always written like this only, n above, p in between, and then r below over here. And this is the notation for permutation. Now let us understand, or let us see the formula. A very easy formula: NPR is equal to n factorial divided by n minus r factorial, with a condition that r has to be less than or equal to the value of n. This is one very important point that we need to remember over here, that the value of r will be either equal to n or it will be lesser than n. The r cannot be greater than the value of n. Let us understand why is it like this with the help of a small example. Come on. Now when I am taking different examples, I am trying to consider different cases that we are going to come across in our different examples. So just understand all the examples and cases very carefully. Case number 1. Number of arrangement of five objects out of 7. I am just considering a very basic, a very simple arrangement of 5 objects out of 7. No conditions applied, nothing. Just question has told that there are 7 objects, you have to arrange any 5 out of them. So how would we do that? It is very easy. This is the total number of objects, so this is your value of n. This is the number of objects to be arranged, so that is the value of r. So number of arrangements of 5 objects out of 7, this can be done in number of arrangements, or the question can tell number of permutations, because just now I told you permutation is nothing but the arrangement. So a question can ask you find the number of permutations, or they can also tell you find the number of arrangements of 5 objects out of 7. This can be done in just 7p 5 ways, and as per the formula I get 7 factorial upon 7 minus 5, which is equal to 2 factorial. Just now some time back we had seen the calculation of this kind of factorial values. What we do is we reduce the greater number till the smaller number. So just leave this 2 factorial as it is and bring this 7 up till 2. 7 into 6 into 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 factorial. So just cancel off the 2 factorial values and multiply the remaining numbers. So 7 into 6 is 42, 4 into 3 is 12, 12 into 5 is 60. So when I multiply, this 0 will come as it is. 6 into 2 is 12, 6 into 4 is 24, and 1 25. So basically there are 2520 ways in which you can arrange 5 objects out of 7. That is example number 1 or case number 1, we can say, where there is no condition given, just you are given the number of objects and the number of total number of objects, and out of which the objects have to be arranged. These all two informations are given to you. Then directly you use the formula for NPR and you will directly get the answer after simplification. That is your case number 1. Now case number 2, a very important one. Find number of ways in which 4 friends can stand for a group photograph. So the question is, you are just told over here the number of friends, that there are 4 friends, but you are not told how many have to be arranged. When you come across this kind of a question, remember, whatever is the total number of objects, all of them have to be arranged. So in that case, value of n is obviously 4, because you are told that there are 4 friends, as well as r value will also be equal to 4, because he says number of ways in which 4 friends have to be arranged. So number of friends, whatever it is, all of them have to be arranged. That is the assumption in this particular statement. So when n and r, they both are equal to each other, I will say over here that number of arrangements is 4p4. Again, if you observe your formula, n factorial upon n minus r factorial, it is very important for us to by heart this formula. I get 4 factorial upon 4 minus 4, which is equal to 0 factorial. A very important note that you have to remember over here, that 0 factorial is always equal to 1. Never substitute or never consider 0 factorial as 1, because 0 factorial as 0, because 0 factorial, whenever we come across, we will always substitute the value as 1. So I will get the answer over here, 4 factorial upon 1. So now when I want to calculate 4 factorial, I have to multiply 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. 4 into 3 is 12, 12 into 2 is 24, and 24 into 1 is again. So there are basically 24 different ways in which you can arrange the 4 friends for a group photograph. Okay, that is one example. Now I'll give you a general condition for this. See, the general condition is like this: number of ways of arranging n objects among themselves. What is the meaning of n objects among themselves? It means whatever is the number of objects, the same will be the number of places, and they all have to be arranged together. So in that case, n and r, if they both are equal, so the number of permutations or the number of arrangements is equal to n p n which is just equal to n factorial upon 0 factorial. And just now as I told you that 0 factorial is always equal to 1, therefore npn is equal to n factorial upon 1, which is just equal to n factorial. So this is a very important point that we need to remember. In general, when the number of objects and number of places are equal, NPR is exactly equal to NPN. I'll give you one more oral example for this. Come on. If the question tells you find the number of ways of arranging 5 books of different subject in a bookshelf. So in that case, you are told that there are 5 books and you have to arrange them in a bookshelf. So there is no condition given to you that you have to arrange 3 books or 2 books or 4 books. He is just telling that there are 5 books and just arrange them in the bookshelf. So we consider that if there are 5 books, there will be 5 different places for them to be arranged in a bookshelf, and therefore I can say that number of arrangements of 5 books will be directly equal to 5p5, or I can say 5 factorial. Very easy to remember it like that. So let us see third example, which is a type of third case with an example. Find number of arrangements of letters of word timed, or probably you can consider number of letters of the word times, such that case number 1, vowels are together. Case number 2, vowels are never together. So let us see how we apply this case one by one. Just listen very carefully. Case number 1 or point number 1, we are starting. The word times. I can see I and E are the 2 vowels. So I say number of vowels is 2. T, M, S. These are the 3 consonants. So I will say number of consonants is equal to 3. Now in this case, because I want the vowels to be together, we say consider 2 vowels as 1 unit and remaining consonants as individual units. So if I want to see the arrangements, see, it will be like this: T, I, M, E, S. But because I am considering the 2 vowels as 1 unit, let me consider the first 2 places as 1 unit, and this is 1 unit, and the remaining consonants as the individual units. So now I have got 4 units in all to be arranged. Because I have to arrange 4 units, it becomes the example of the second case, according to which there are n objects and they all have to be arranged among themselves. So in that case, I will say 4 units can be arranged among themselves in 4 factorial ways, which is actually just 24 ways, 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. But the two vowels, let us say that the vowels over here are I and E. Either I can write it as I and E, or I can write it as EI inside the group only, or inside this unit only. It means that the two vowels can also be arranged among themselves in 2 factorial ways. So, in order to arrange the letters of the word times, total number of arrangements what is the total number of arrangements? I have to consider all the elements, consonants and the other units together, as well as the vowels. So it will come out to be 4 factorial 24 multiplied by 2 factorial 2. Why did I multiply? The simple logic is that I am considering all the consonants and the vowels together. Sometime back I had told you that whenever we come across the word and, we have to multiply the possibilities. Therefore we multiply these both cases. So I get 24 into 2, which is equal to 48. That was your about your case number 1, which says that if you are told that a certain number of objects, if they are together, consider all of them as one unit, and the remaining objects which have no condition of being together, consider them as individual units, and then you will get the total number of units. Like I have got 4 factorial over here, and inside the unit once again we will make the arrangements according to whatever the number of objects are available inside the unit. Then multiply both the cases to get the final answer. Am I clear? Let us see case number 2. The vowels are never together. When we come across this kind of a case, when the vowels are never together, so we understand from here that there is a condition on the vowels, and the condition says that the vowels should not be together. So what we do that in such a case, first arrange those elements or those objects which do not have any condition. And what are the objects over here that do not have any condition? Then it is the consonants. So let us make 3 places for 3 consonants. So 3 consonants can be arranged in 3 places. In how many ways? 3 factorial ways, because 3 consonants and 3 places. So n is 3, r is 3. So it becomes just 3p3, which is 3 factorial. Now, because the question has told us that the vowels are not together, it means that the vowels can be filled in these 2 places, that is in between the 2 consonants, or in the first place, or in the last place. It means that the vowels actually have got 4 options to be fixed or arranged, and there are only 2 vowels. So we say that any 2 places out of 4 can be filled using 2 vowels. So the vowels will not be together in 4p2 ways. Why is it 4p2? Because total number of places is 4, so n is 4, and you just have two vowels, so only two places will be filled, so r will be taken as 2. Therefore we consider the total number of cases for the vowels as 4p2. So if I solve this 4p2, this will become 4 factorial upon 2 factorial, which is equal to 4 into 3 into 2 factorial upon 2 factorial. So just cancel off this and you will get 4 into 3 as 12. So there will be 12 ways in which I can arrange the two vowels in 4 places. Now when I want to get the total number of arrangements, it will be arrangements of the consonants and the arrangements of the vowels together. So when it comes and, it means I have to multiply the possibilities, which is 3 factorial multiplied by 12. So that is 3 factorial, 3 into 2 into 1 is 6 into 12, which comes out to be equal to 72. Very simple. Okay, so write the note along with me. In expansion of NPR, there are exactly R factors. This is a very important MCQ that we will be coming across when we are solving our exercises. See, what is the meaning of this? Let us understand this. Suppose if I calculate the value of 7p4, so this over here will become 7 factorial upon 7 minus 4, 3 factorial. So this is 7 into 6 into 5 into 4 into 3 factorial divided by 3 factorial. Cancel off this. So if you observe, I am having 4 elements left over here, 7, 6, 5 and 4. So these 4 elements are actually called as the 4 factors. If you remember, the upper value is n and the lower value is r. So because r is 4, therefore I have got 4 factors over here. In the same way, if I do some other calculation, let us say 8p3. According to 8p3, it will come out to be 8 factorial upon 8 minus 3, which is equal to 5 factorial. So this will become 8 into 7 into 6 into 5 factorial upon 5 factorial. Cancel off this. Once again, you can see there are only 3 elements left. So this implies that there are 3 factors of 8p3 because r is equal to 3 in this particular case. So in expansion of NPR, for any given value of n and r, always remember that there are r factors available. Is that clear?